The following is a paid program. The opinions are those of the hosts and guests and not necessarily those of the station or its management.
All right, folks. Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from AM 830 WCRN, the Dropbox Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. I'm Joe Mangiacotti, and this is the Joe Mangiacotti Show online at tjmshow.com. Check us out there. You can, of course, live stream the show as well. We're on the TuneIn app. We're on our WCRN website as well. You can go to my social media platforms, which are all basically Joe Mangi Show, M-A-N-G-I, Joe Mangi Show. So we're live streaming on Facebook and Twitter, my YouTube channel, The Joe Mangiacotti Show, even my LinkedIn page under my name, and Twitch TV. So plenty of ways to, it's not a big production, folks. It's a camera in the studio, but the audio is streaming in all those locations. And of course, terrestrial radio is fine too. Our affiliates out in the western part of the state, AM 730 WACE. So we're talking to all of you here in New England. You can join the conversation at any time at 508 871 7000. That's 508 871 7000. Lines are open and available. During the next hour, we're going to talk about American service people that are basically being booted out because they won't take the vaccination. We'll be joined by shortly Joe Collins. And Joe Collins is a candidate. He's running for the seat currently held by Maxine Waters. He's a 13-year Navy veteran. Republican candidate. It's called the 43rd District. That's in California. And we'll talk about upwards of 20,000 members of the armed services being discharged from service. So we'll get into that. Also today, we're looking at closing arguments and going on for Kim Porter. In the last couple of months, we've had some fantastic trials, and I mean them in the sense that they have been interesting to watch. One, not all that much, but interesting to watch. And they're restoring my faith in the American judicial system. Right, the Kyle Rittenhouse case certainly came down the way it should have gone. If you really look at the facts, it was all a political motivation here. He should have never really been charged. It was a waste of the court's time, taxpayers' time. It just caused a lot of aggravation, and it wasn't necessary. The facts presented were so clear-cut a self-defense situation that jamoke of a prosecutor, DA, had really no justification in bringing those charges. But he was found not guilty, right? They threw out the charge that wasn't even, you couldn't even charge it because he didn't even understand the law. He tried to charge him with this gun charge that he couldn't. It didn't support it. That's how ridiculous that was. And we had the case with the jamokes down there, which is interesting on this one. Right, where they killed the man because he was jogging through the neighborhood or what have you, and they decided he was probably a guy that's, he had no bags on him, no nothing, no car, just jogging, but they chased him. They weren't going to bring charges in that particular case until one of those jamokes involved posted the video of it, and they realized that their story didn't line up. So that happened, right? And they're going to prison. Even if you go back to Chauvin, right? He's in prison for that slow motion murder of George Floyd. So these trials, they are working. Now we've got Justine Maxson. We'll see what happens there. There's rumbling that she'll start naming names. There's no gray area or vagueness that she's going to end up being found guilty for aiding and abetting and pimping out and just the disgusting things that her and Epstein were doing. But they're talking that she could start naming names when it gets to the sentencing part, right? The sentencing part, so that she gets a little easygoing on the sentencing, or maybe nicer facility or minimum or something. And there are a lot of people who are very afraid of her start naming names, right? Nobody wants to have Justine Maxson starting to do that stuff. And then we've got Kim Porter, probably going to the jury today. Defense is saying, she had the right to use deadly force against Dante Wright. They're trying to say this confusion in the instance was junk science. If you watched any of the trial, I watched a lot of it. There is a ton of remorse. This is not a woman that has a history of being a brute or being abusive on the police department. I think this is my feeling on this is this was truly a tragic accident and that it was chaotic. And like she said, when she saw the fear in her colleague's eyes when this kid jumped. Now, remember, they pull them over, they run the name, they run the plates, they run everything. It comes back. He has a warrant and he has weapon charges, and it's a weapons issue. A traffic stop can be one of the most dangerous things a police officer can do. And when you know that you have a person who already has defaulted, who has already thumbed their nose at the law, who has weapon charges, and is known to have weapons, it becomes a much scarier situation. Is she guilty? Yeah, she's guilty. Should she do life in prison? I don't think so. And when you talk about manslaughter, it doesn't rise to the level of criminal intent here at all. But we'll see what happens. That's going to the trial. So we've had some great trials to have to look at, but we'll see what happens with this one. Again,
didn't they say that one of her partners was at risk of being dragged by the car?
Well, that's the whole thing. The look in his fear. So the kid was out of the car, Dante, right? He's out of the car. He dives back in the car for the purpose of either grabbing a gun, but he put the car in gear and he was running. No, the other officer had come in through the passenger window. So he's half in. Yes. If he takes off with the officer hanging out of the car, that is absolutely extremely dangerous for him, and would be charged in normal circumstances attempted murder if you drag a police officer out of your vehicle when you can have all the control of the car to stop it. So yes, and this is the defense, that she had the right for deadly force because he was applying deadly force to her colleagues, the other officer hanging out the window. So that's kind of the defense there, and of course talking about, yeah, she made the mistake and pulled the taser instead of pulled the firearm instead of the taser. But the point is, defense is saying it's irrelevant. Defense is saying that deadly force was justified because of what Dante Wright was doing. So she's dealing, and she's got the pillar. I mean, they sold the right away. She quit the force. She didn't want to expose her fellow officers in the department to the scrutiny and the demonstrations and being targeted. They sold their house, right? They got moved out of there. She did a lot of things very quickly to try to lessen blowback and other problems that could come. And kudos to her for trying to do that. All right. So we're going to be joined shortly by Joe Collins, but I just want to point out that we're looking at service people, service men and women. And they're talking about, let's see, more than 100 Marine Corps members have been kicked out of the force for not getting COVID-19 vaccine. So the military announced that this past week. Marine officials decided to discharge 103 individuals for that branch, for the Marine Corps. And the Army on Thursday announced that it had relieved 6 active duty leaders, including 2 battalion commanders, for refusing to get a vaccine, as well as issuing over 2,700 reprimands to soldiers for not complying with the vaccine mandate. Now, for those of you that are veterans or veteran adjacent, you know that when you go to the service, you get tons of vaccinations. When you're going overseas, you get a lot of vaccinations, right? When you have to deploy to certain areas, they give you stuff to have to fight this stuff. So this whole issue is, are they justified? Can they? Because are you allowed as government property, and that's what you are when you join the service? Do you have the right and the ability to say, wait a minute, the science doesn't, and it doesn't. The science doesn't support this. I'm a very young, healthy, obviously very fit person if you're in the Marine Corps and you're a young guy or young woman, and this is not the threat that you're pretending that it is to me. And what about those that have already had it and now have the antibodies? Why will they not pay attention to that? And why are they forcing you to get a pharmaceutical vaccination? Hey, we got to take a break here in the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Brockstrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. Yes, on the phone, I know you're there. We're going to go to you, but we got to take a break. Joyce, Mark, and we'll be joined by Joe Collins, a Republican candidate for California's 43rd district. He's trying to unseat Maxine Waters. Hopefully we can give him a little help there. All right, 508-871-7000. Stick with us. We'll be back on the other side.
We know why you're awake. Your child is about to get their driver's license. Levante's Auto School offers 1-week driving programs to help make sure your child stays safe and focused behind the wheel.
877 Drive Ed. Who's Ed?
That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Learn to drive safely and efficiently. Visit one of our 5 locations throughout Massachusetts. Click Levante'sAutoschool.com.
Levante's Auto School shows you how to learn the rules and keep your cool. 877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Cheryl Ann Gengel co-founded the Be Like Brit Foundation, founded to honor the memory of her daughter, Brittany Gengel, who died tragically in the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, along with approximately 300,000 others. To honor her life and her commitment to those less fortunate, the Be Like Brit Foundation works towards fulfilling their vision to raise the next generation of leaders in Haiti. Please take a moment to visit BeLikeBrit.org to learn more about our mission and to see what your help has accomplished and will do in the future. Make a difference. Be like Brit.
I want to tell you what Cantiani Insurance has been able to do for me and Teddy. We stopped in to see Paul Sr. and the great staff at 318 Plantation Street. They've been handling my car and business insurance for years. Teddy was making his way around the office, and they let me know. They now offer pet insurance. For a fraction of what one visit to the vet was for Teddy, they could cover him for a whole year. I know you treat your furry family members like any other family member, and as well as I do Teddy. The professional staff at Cantiani's has been providing courteous service for over 40 years with integrity and personalized service, making sure that your insurance actually protects you and your family. With 2 locations, the 318 Plantation Street in Worcester and East Douglas Insurance Agency, located at 306 Main Street in Douglas. For home, auto, business insurance, and now pet insurance, click CantianiAgency.com or call 508-791-2088. 508-791-2088.
Hey folks, Joe Mangiacotti here, and I have recently purged and refreshed with new furniture and, most importantly, a new bed. We spend about a third of our life on our mattresses, and it's so vital we have the right one, and we don't break the bank to do that. I first bought a mattress from the big store the brothers used to own, and a power base that moved the head and feet, and then I met John, and I checked out his showroom at 50 Main Street in Ashland and online at boxdropmiddlesex.com. And ended up with a better mattress, a power base that also heats and massages, all for less than half of what I was going to spend at the other place. Boxdrop is a discount mattress store, and John specializes in clearance and closeouts, and he buys directly from the manufacturer with a low overhead and just family employees, passing the savings on to you, and you can see it reflected in the price every day. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or call John on his cell. This is his cell number, 508-579-9303. That's 508-579-9303. And you can find John on Facebook at Boxdrop Middlesex. John loves referrals, and this is the best referral I've given so far this year. DropboxMiddlesex.com.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388 or email textjoeontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world, sharks. Have a week dedicated to him. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Boxdrop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. You can join the conversation at 508-871-7000. 508-871-7000. Our text line is up and running at 617-297-8388. As I said, we'll be joined shortly by Joe Collins, who's a Republican candidate for California's 43rd District. He's going to unseat Maxine Waters, but we're going to talk about these American service people who have committed their lives to serving us in the military, dedicating their lives for our safety, and there's no consideration being made for that. Let me just go to the phones real quick and clear some lines. Joyce, good afternoon. Thanks for holding on. You're on the Joe Mangiacotti Show.
I know. I was supposed to be the first one on.
Well, apparently you are.
Well, I was cut off, so I called back, and she said, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we're against the clock here. Joyce, what's on your mind real quick?
I know. Well, first of all, Kim Potter, she's innocent. Now, you know that as well as I do, and a lot of other people do too. So, if you watch it on Fox News and not the fake Fox News, they all know. And I watch that a lot. I already told you that.
Yeah.
So, and as far as Joe Manchin, I'm happy that he's making Jim McGovern and all of the rest of the dirt bags unhappy.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of heat. But you know what? The thing about it is, this is what kills me with this, Joyce, is the system's working, right? You're not supposed to vote in a block. You're supposed to vote individually. You're representative of your people in your district, your constituency. And they're coming at him. They're throwing everything at him. They're calling him names, and they're pissed at him because it won't get through without him. And that means it's not a good bill. If you can't convince everybody that it's a good thing, it's not supposed to pass. Joe Manchin is doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. It is ridiculous to throw trillions of dollars into an economy with hyperinflation already. It's loaded with Green New Deal and socialist programs. It's a bad, bad bill. Save the country, kill the bill. That's it. Kudos to Joe Manchin.
Yeah, thank God for Joe Manchin. Thank you very much. You know what? And I had on, just before I called you, I had CNN on. And let me tell you, a lot of people like Joe Manchin.
Got it. All right, Joyce, we got to move along. We got a lot of calls. Thank you very much. Always a great call, Joyce. Mark, you're next. You look marvelous.
You look marvelous as well. Briefly, I was listening to a popular call and talk show out of Boston this morning. Last letters are RKO. A woman called up. She said she was a retired supervisor, RN, very intelligent lady. She's fighting with her congressman. She's a resident of Massachusetts. With her congressman, she's demanding a hard copy of the Build Back Better bill.
Mm-hmm.
Hard copy. Now, they're supposed to provide you that upon
Request. Yeah.
Official request. It's supposed to. The lady, she's fighting with the aide, the congressman's aide, and the congressman's aide says, "You know what? What you're asking for is about between 7 and 8 pounds of hard copy paper. 7 and 8 pounds of hard copy.
Yeah.
That's how big that bill is. That's how much pork is stuffed into that bill. It's absolutely incredible. 7.5 pounds of
Crazy,
paper.
right? And do you think that was
insane.
all just authored? Again, they went to the drawer. They put all of that Green New Deal and socialist programs and so forth that they've been shelved for ages, and dusted it off, spruced it up, and stuck it into this thing. And they thought if they did it quicker enough and pulled the old Nancy Pelosi, you got to pat what's in it kind of scam, that it would get through. Thank goodness for Joe Manchin's and cinemas and the Republicans.
I hope Joe Manchin doesn't back off like a lot of these Republicans do. I hope he sticks to his guns. Otherwise, his name is mud politically.
Oh, absolutely. And you got to remember.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Mark. Excellent call. And you got to remember that Joe district that went very heavily for Donald Trump. So he's paying attention to his constituency. But folks, as I was telling you, we've got this situation going on where the military is kicking out service people because they don't want to get the vaccination, and they're not giving. These are people who have chosen to honorably serve our country, and they're not giving any consideration to herd immunity and to people who have already gotten the antibodies before naturally getting it. And what I'd like to do is, as I promised a little earlier, is invite into the conversation candidate Joe Collins for Congress. He's running for California's 43rd district. That's Maxine Waters' seat. And Joe, you've been on before, but welcome back to the show, man.
Have me. It's been a minute.
It has been. It has been. And let me ask you, we'll talk about the campaign in a second, but just general, is it going well? Are you doing, are things looking good?
Well, I'll tell you this. We registered over 50,000 Republicans in the 43rd district, and so now they're redistricting. We took it from a D plus 59 to a D plus 24. For people who don't understand that, that means 59 Democrats you'll find one Republican, and so we've been shrinking the number of Democrats in that district by, continuously showing people the type of leader that they deserve. And I mean, like the gerrymandering is extremely crazy.
Wow. That's tough. But let's go to my point of the servicemen and women who are being discharged. We're talking about 103 out of the Marine Corps, some more out of the Army already. The Navy's following suit. What is the and you're a 13-year veteran of the Navy. Thank you for your service. What are we looking at a potential number of servicemen and women that could be discharged over this?
I think what we're looking at right now is kind of like a dictatorship. People think that just because you join the military that you lose the freedoms that you're literally fighting for the American people to have, and that's just not the case. I mean, medical freedom is important for anybody, and the crux to the issue is the vaccine from Moderna or Pfizer is still only authorized for emergency use. And it doesn't stop coronavirus from spreading. It simply minimizes the symptoms, even with a booster shot. And so I think to force the military to have to take an experimental vaccine that doesn't stop coronavirus in itself is repugnant to the reason why people go into fight. And it's simply not fair. I would start getting together class action lawsuits to legitimately sue the military or sue the Biden administration for causing this.
Let me ask you, if you're in the service and look at, we had the absolute embarrassment of Afghanistan withdrawal. I don't know what that has done to the morale of service people, Joe, and maybe you have more insight into that and can share with us. But what about the pressure, the undue pressure and aggravation of this hanging over your head? If you've chosen a career in one of the branches and this is what you were doing with your life, and this comes along and you can't see, it doesn't take a lot to do a little research and read about the side effects of the vaccinations and about the science, the true science, right? Not what's filtered through the political filter of this and the big tech filter, by the way. And you look at this and you say, actually, I'm not really in a lot of danger if I don't take this. Especially the Omicron they're calling it the Omni cold, Joe. It's great because it's a 70 times the spread, right? It's very easy to spread, but it's a weaker strain, meaning it's like nature's vaccination, right? Everybody's gonna get it, but you're gonna get a cold. If I told you, hey, in this winter you're gonna get a cold, 7 to 10 days, you'll have the sniffles, you'll feel a little crappy, and then you'll be fine. What would you be like? Okay, yeah, that happens every year or two, right?
Yeah, go get some Theraflu or some Tylenol and take a nap.
Now they're talking about 40+% of people that have the Omicron don't even know it. The symptoms don't even justify. They don't even know it. They only know it because they're testing everything. So what about the feeling? What's that doing to the psyche of a serviceman, man?
I think it devalues the military. It devalues the reason why people join the military. People join the military to fight for this country, to create a life for themselves, to, get that step ahead that they need, or even, have something to do while they're trying to figure out their lives. And so when you cut that or you snatch that away from that service member over a simple vaccination, you make the military a place that people don't really want to be. That's the crux of the matter.
Right. And it can be a little scary if you realize that you have absolutely no control over your health of your body if you go in there as well. Joe, we have to, can you hold for the break or do you have to run?
Yep.
All right. Hold on to the break. We're talking to Joe Collins. You can find him online at Joe Collins for Congress, spelt all out, FOR, Joe Collins for Congress, but we'll give you more of that when we come back on the other side. We do have to take a quick break here on the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Drop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. 508-871-7000. Stick with us.
This is full service radio. AM 830, Worcester, Metro West.
I'm Ed Donahue with an AP News Minute. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is telling people to be smart during the holidays as coronavirus case numbers keep rising.
Unfortunately, I must say to people, we will have to reserve the possibility of taking further action to protect the public and to protect public health, to protect our NHS. And we won't hesitate to take that action.
Case numbers rising around the world as the Omicron variant spreads. The World Health Organization's Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus says people should reconsider holiday plans.
An event canceled is better than a life canceled.
More than a quarter of National Hockey League teams have been shut down through at least the weekend because of the virus. Columbus and Montreal are the latest. In the NFL, Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield did not test negative and won't be activated for tonight's Las Vegas. I'm Ed Donahue.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives.
ABC Mouse is like so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1770 within reach.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear. Weather on Radio 830 WCRN. I'm sure you felt the chill in the air out there today. We actually have the coldest so far this season, even though winter doesn't officially start until tomorrow. High temperatures today land in the mid-30s in the greater Worcester area. We're just going to keep it nice and bright for the rest of the day and quiet as well. It does get a little bit breezy just for a period overnight tonight, but at least tomorrow we got highs seasonable back in the 40s. I'm Sherry Spear, and you can hear Boston 25 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
Another marvelous Monday in New England. I'm Ted A. Here are some historic facts that happened on December 20th. In 1803, the flag of France is lowered in New Orleans, marking the formal transfer to the United States. In 1812, the first publication of Grimm's fairy tales. In 1917, following a decree by Lenin, the Soviet security force that later was the KGB. In 1960, the National Liberation Front, best known as the Viet Cong, is formed in South Vietnam. In 1990, the Pentagon warned Saddam Hussein that air power is ready to strike in 20 days. In 1990, the first website and server go live. In 2019, President Donald Trump announces the formation of the United States Space Force. The WCRN News is brought to you by John the Roofer, a leader in the roofing and home improvements business for more than 70 years. 866-90-ROOF or go to the internet and see johntheroofer.com.
You're listening show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 50 in real time at 617-297-8388 or email techontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. His tears cure cancer. Too bad he never cries. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second half of the first hour here of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Drop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. On the line with me is Joe Collins, who is a Republican candidate for California's 43rd district to unseat Maxine Waters, again, dealing with the redistricting out there, the gerrymandering that's going on there. But we're talking about our servicemen and women being forced to take this vaccination. And according to the Department of Defense, the Army itself, there are 468,459 active duty. So of the active duty force have received at least one vaccine dose, and most meet the definition of fully vaccinated. So we're talking about extreme small percentage who don't want it or have it, Joe.
Yeah, it is an extreme small percentage. And, I knew something was up when you have the federal government trying to force you to take a vaccine. It's never happened in the history of the United States, and people were taking COVID more seriously than they're even taking gun violence, death. And I think that's a huge problem. If we're going to shut the country down for, a virus that they say is extremely bad, even though they have a 99.6% recovery rate, and I think we should do the same thing for gun violence, the same thing for homeless, the same thing for anything that plagues American people.
Yeah. The thing about so the forcing of it when you don't really, I mean, we're not having the conversation about herd immunity, natural immunity. People have had it. So even if you've had COVID, are they forcing you still to take a vaccination if you've already had it and had the antibodies?
Yeah, they are. And the reason why is because they haven't done research on people who have had COVID-19 and recovered from COVID-19, even when it comes to reinfection, and that's a problem as well. They don't track that.
Right. No. And they're not, and there's no conversation about the adverse effects of it as well. In a lot of these, there's been a lot of side effects that have to deal with young men in hearts in problems with their cardiac issues. So this is just crazy. What is going to happen? And when they get discharged, Joe, do you know, is it an honorable discharge? Is it dishonorable? Is it going to hurt them for future jobs? I mean, does it wipe them out of the VA bill or and the benefits of being a veteran? What are the ramifications of being kicked out because you won't take an experimental vaccine?
I think, as far as I know, they're going to be general discharges. Anything under an honorable is probably what they're going to get, which also isn't fair as well. You have people who have served honorably 20 years, 15 years, and because they don't want to take a vaccine, now you're kicking them out.
Well, according to some news reports, the Senate passed a bill this week that would prevent dishonorable discharges over refusing. So at least there's some protection there that you're not going to have that following you around.
But still, anything less than an honorable discharge is crazy. People need that honorable discharge, not over a vaccine. I mean, people do crazy things like, DUIs or, showing up late to work or multiple times, alcohol-related incidents, doing drugs or whatever in the military, and they get a general or honorable discharge. But because a person doesn't want to take a vaccine, that is not fair. They deserve those honorable discharges. So I hope these people who are getting put out come together and start forming class action lawsuits.
Are there any military, high-ranking military doctors who are on the side of not forcing them? And are they being forced to go along too? In other words, do you know of anybody speaking out? Didn't we have a lieutenant colonel that ended up in the brig?
Yeah,
for speaking out. Oh no, that had. I'm sorry, I'm confused. That had to do with calling the show there in Afghanistan. That mess up.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Do we have anybody that's in the high rankings? I mean, some of these doctors who are military doctors have to get to be saying, guys, slow your roll here. Let's think about
but
this.
they don't,
Yeah.
They're forced to go with the flow. They have to.
That is bad. That is bad. Would it help if people were to write their congressmen and the senators and say, you know what? Stop doing this to our soldiers. Stop doing this to our personnel. Do not force them.
Yeah,
I mean, but these are the same people who are forcing us. We're going along with masking on airplanes, which has, the cleanest air in any enclosed area is the cabin of an aircraft, right? It's replaced every 0.6 minutes or something stupid. It's cleaner than an emergency room when it comes to filtration. So these are the same people. Are they going to come to the aid of the military or the armed forces when they're going along with ruining our lives? They've shut our businesses down, right? And these mandates. The Biden administration's been blocked on a few things, right? There's at least the court has stepped in and said, wait, hold on, we're going to block you some of these mask mandates. They're just out of line. Overall, what is this going to do to just the general precedents that's set on our constitutional rights and our liberties and freedoms if this whole mandate stuff continues?
Overall, it's bad for the Democratic Party, because you got to understand, Joe Biden's a Democrat. They control the House and the Senate. The DOJ, are extremely left-leaning. And so I think with this upcoming election, you'll see a lot of Democrats losing their seats just because of the fact that they don't stand up to Joe Biden or they don't say anything about, the things that he's doing, the misinformation that's getting put out there by the news media because of this president. I mean, he ran this campaign based on hatred and segregation. And when he got into office, he proved to be just that.
Yeah.
And, hopefully.
Despite the rhetoric about, unification, right? Yeah, I'm president for everybody and we're going to unify. This president has made more divisive comments and actions. And quite frankly, I mean, I'll compare it to Trump any day. If you listen to Trump's actual words and if you listen to Trump's actual deeds, right? His policies are what brought our nation to the best economic position, the lowest unemployment across the board, right? In energy independent as well as energy exporter. Now look what's happening, Joe. Look where we're at.
Yeah.
So tell us about the campaign. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what they say, if there is no crisis, you create one and use that crisis to your advantage, or try to at least. It's just now people aren't stupid. You can't shut down every single business and put people out of business and shut down jobs and then, reopen the economy and then say you're doing good on job numbers when you create 200,000 jobs. You're not creating 200,000 jobs. You allowing people who you forced to shut down to reopen. That's not job creation. That's BS.
Yeah. Well, I know your district, 43rd district that you're running for against Maxine Waters does not, or maybe I'm wrong, doesn't take in San Francisco, correct?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's south. It's more LA, right? Well, you got a Breed up there, Mayor Breed, who a year ago, or a little more than a year ago, is giving us this malarkey about defunding the police. She takes $120 million. Think about that, folks. $120 million out of the police department's budget. And now she goes up there on the podium the other day and she starts lecturing us about having to get tough on crime and not standing for any of this and prosecuting criminals and showing them who's what and everything. Are you like me saying, who are you? What did you just wake up? What was the $120 million about? Why were you saying defund the police? This is the same woman that mandated the mask policies, right? And then there she is at a wedding, crammed in with a mask off and dancing. And when challenged on it, what did she say, Joe? Sometimes you just have to dance.
Yeah.
I mean,
that lady's a nut job. I didn't even know who she was at first, but she's made a name for herself, being an ignorant politician. And Eric Garcetti did the same thing. The mayor of Los Angeles, he took $150 million away from the police budget, and that money took away from the police department's ability to investigate or go after personal crimes like burglary and things of that nature. So the defund the police movement was extremely stupid.
Absolutely. And now they want to use the federal money, right, that they're printing in the basement of the White House a day and night, and throw it back in to refunding police. I mean, it's asinine. You scratch your head and you got to say, just make it stop. Just get these people out of there. I can't wait for the 2020 midterms to try to at least bring some normalcy back. Let's tell people where they can go check you out. Your campaign is online at Joe Collins for Congress, right? That's all written out.
Yeah. Joe Collins for Congress.com and on every social media platform at Joe E. Collins and the number 3.
Joe E. Collins, number 3. All right, folks. So check it out. The link is up on my Facebook page. I'll tweet it out again. Go check it out. If you want to get rid of Maxine Waters, right? This is the woman who told everybody, don't let anybody in the Trump campaign or the Trump administration have a moment of peace. You get up in their face, right? I mean, this one, it's time to retire Maxine.
Yeah, and she believes all of that stuff that comes out of her mouth too. That's the crazy part about it.
That's crazy. Joe, I'll let you go now. Thank you so much for taking time. It's not that bad. You're 3 hours behind me, so that's why we did a Monday and not a Saturday morning, man. but
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, man, and come back and keep us posted on the campaign. Joe Collins, folks. Joe Collins for the 43rd seat in California. He wants to unseat Maxine Waters. Give him a hand. Try to help him do that. All right, we're going to take a quick break here in the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Shop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. Stick with us. Back on the other side.
Hey folks, Joe Mangiacotti here, and I have recently purged and refreshed with new furniture and, most importantly, a new bed. We spend about a third of our life on our mattresses, and it's so vital we have the right one, and we don't break the bank to do that. I first bought a mattress from the big store the brothers used to own, and a power base that moved the head and feet, and then I met John, and I checked out his showroom at 50 Main Street in Ashland and online at boxdropmiddlesex.com, and ended up with a better mattress, a power base that also heats and massages, all for less than half of what I was going to spend at the other place. Box Drop is a discount mattress store, and John specializes in clearance and closeouts, and he buys directly from the manufacturer with a low overhead and just family employees, passing the savings on to you, and you can see it reflected in the price every day. Click boxdropmiddlesex.com or call John on his cell. This is his cell number, 508-579-9303. That's 508-579-9303. And you can find John on Facebook at Box Drop Middlesex. John loves referrals, and this is the best referral I've given so far this year. Dropboxmiddlesex.com.
I want to tell you what Cantiani Insurance has been able to do for me and Teddy. We stopped in to see Paul Sr. and the great staff at 18 Plantation Street. They've been handling my car and business insurance for years. Teddy was making his way around the office, and they let me know they now offer pet insurance. For a fraction of what one visit to the vet was for Teddy, they could cover him for a whole year. I know you treat your furry family members like any other family member, and as well as I do Teddy. The professional staff at Cantiani's has been providing courteous service for over 40 years with integrity and personalized service, making sure that your insurance actually protects you and your family. With 2 locations, the 318 Plantation Street in Worcester and East Douglas Insurance Agency, located at 306 Main Street in Douglas. For home, auto, business insurance, and now pet insurance, click CantianiAgency.com or call 508-791-2088. 508-791-2088.
Do you often wonder how you're going to prepare for retirement? Bob Gustafson is a certified financial planner and owner of the Triton Financial Group. Their unique 3-pronged approach of combining true comprehensive planning with cost-effective wealth management services has helped people navigate questions like these for more than 20 years. Please call Bob at 508-480-8383 or visit TritonFinancialGroup.com. All initial consultations are always offered at no cost or obligation.
We know why you're awake. Your child is about to get their driver's license. Levante's Auto School offers 1-week driving programs to help make sure your child stays safe and focused behind the wheel.
877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
Learn to drive safely and efficiently. Visit one of our 5 locations throughout Massachusetts. Click LevantesAutoschool.com.
Levante's Auto School shows you how to learn the rules and keep your cool. 877 Drive Ed.
Who's Ed? That's the number for Levante's Auto School.
You're listening to the Joe Mangiacotti Show on Powerhouse Station WCRN and our affiliates. To talk to Joe, dial 508-871-7000, and you can text Joe on air in real time at 617-297-8388 or email textjoeontheradio@gmail.com. And now back to the most interesting man in the world. He brings a knife to a gunfight just to make the odds even. Common sense talk for the common sense citizen.
All right, folks, welcome back to the final segment of the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show from the Box Shop Middlesex Mattress Outlet Studios. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. You can join the conversation at 508-871-7000. 508-871-7000. Good luck to Joe Collins. I hope he makes it. It's time to retire Maxine Waters, along with many of the Democrats, and we have a very high number. I think the last count I saw was 17 incumbent Democrats who are retiring and not seeking re-election. They've decided it's time to go, and it's probably usually better to go out on your decision opposed to being an incumbent many years in and losing a re-election. So a lot of people are just getting out. Well, the getting out's good. Meanwhile, Joe Manchin's Christmas gift to America, killing the Build Back Better horror show that's going on there. And that's what you got to do. Kill the bill, save America. That's the tagline on that one. 508-871-7000 and join the conversation. Let me go to the phones where Ken has been waiting very patiently. Ken, I appreciate that. Joe was scheduled for a certain amount of time that he had to carve out for us, so we had to do that. Thanks, man.
And it was good to hear from him. I believe this is his second run after going for Maxine. And what I had seen on TV in his first run, this guy is a really serious campaigner. He goes door to door the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. To unseat somebody like her, I think you have to. You have to shake hands, knock on the doors, and make the touch. You got to have those 8-9 touches with people between postcards and mailings and meeting them. And so, you got to do it. Ring the baby and shake the doors. That's it, right?
So, Joe, with all this panic porn going on, am I worried? Hell no. I had a big festive yesterday. 23. It was fun.
You had what yesterday?
I had a big Christmas party with my family.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good.
23 of us.
Yep.
And all went terrific. It was just so great to do it again. After 2 years.
I went to a party that took a break last year. It happens every year. And Saturday, I was thinking about that, right? I said there's probably 70 people were in the house at one point. Big house, don't get me wrong. So I mean, there's a couple living rooms and that kind of thing. So it wasn't crammed in there, but you still had ebb and flow. But probably 100+ people came through the night, but 70 or 75 people at any given time in the party plus staff, right? Ton of staff cooking, several different stations, a couple bars set up. So I was thinking about that during the night, and I'm saying, this is good. And then I noticed I felt a little Democrat, like elitist there, because at one point I realized that all the staff had masks on, Joe, Ken, right?
Yeah.
And I said to one of the bartenders, I said, are you wearing the mask on your own, or were you told to? And she said, no, we don't have to. She goes, but it's just the catering companies everybody's just kind of does it so that there's not a big problem. But she said, no, nobody told us we had to. We're not being forced to work it or anything like that. We just do it on our own. And I was like, thank goodness, because I didn't want to feel like a part of the people, saying, good for you, but not for me. What we see Dems do all the time. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
So, Joe, I'm ready for an Omicron update to give you.
Great.
From a week ago. So a week ago, I was talking about the big disparity between cases and deaths as of Sunday the 12th, which was like almost 39,000 in South Africa and only 21 deaths. Now, a week later, 7 days, yesterday, the count was 15,465. I'm looking at it. So the counts have gone way down. Now, I think that one day, 7 days ago, was an anomaly for whatever reason. Probably would have been 35,000 or less and a more consistent pattern, but it's clearly broken. You've seen the top. So, for instance, many people like yourself say everybody's going to get it. No, that's not true. Those who have researched it, and particularly in South Africa, from previous waves, are suggesting that the number of people actually infected never gets over 20% in a particular wave. That's just the way these work. So you may have like one.
No, why is that? Because it mutates again, or it dies out?
No, it just can't easily get everybody that's out there. It can just kind of burn through, a wildfire. Really bad ones, I guess, can burn out everything. But that's just not the way these work. It just kind of, wherever there's something happening that it can latch onto, it does, and then It reaches the end of the string, and that's just as far as
All
it
right.
goes.
So
And
what is the
that's the
factor then that is different? Because the original COVID-19 virus, traveled the planet. And
Oh no, yeah, yes. I'm just saying you're not going to get more than wherever it is happening. So it is peaking in New England because it's wintertime. We know, we expect this. So whenever it has one of these waves that you can see on a chart, it only impacts at most 20% of the population. That's pretty consistent in the 15 to 20% range. And they only get about 4 of them officially recorded as cases because a lot of people have something asymptomatic or mild and they don't even bother getting it tested. They don't even know it. They had it.
right.
That's just normal. So the really good news is South Africa has peaked. So it isn't like it just doubles forever. It has, and it appears like from start to peak is about 5 weeks. And it's fair to say that the UK is about a week behind them. Now, the UK numbers are really interesting because I heard one that they're estimating as of yesterday that 60% of their current new cases are Omicron.
Right.
But they're also trying to imply that that's on top of Delta, which is still at the same levels. I'm like, wait a minute, I can do the math on this. So yesterday, the total in UK was almost 83,000. A week prior, no, I shouldn't say a week because they are probably almost a month along from the original starting. So that's what we want to compare. So a month ago, they were at like 46,000. So it's like, okay, that was all the old Delta. So I'm doing the math and I was like, okay, 46,000, they now have about 33,000 Delta. So the Delta is down about 25, 30% or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect that that's a signal that it's being replaced by Omicron. It isn't like Omicron just on top of Delta. No, Delta's coming down. And that's consistent with everything in the past, all the history you can imagine. And it's just replaying itself. Now that that's occurring, it's sort of like within a few more days of confirmation, you're like, okay, everything like we wanted. Delta's going away, and we're probably about a week behind the UK. And I'm going to guess that we go over 50% sometime between Christmas and New Year's, and we peak probably a week thereafter.
And then it goes away.
Well, for now,
Yeah.
But effectively, the key thing is Delta will have been replaced.
Got it.
This is like King of the Hill. Each new variant has to dominate
Knock
over
off
the
the
other.
other, get it on top for a little bit. All right, Ken, I got to let you go here. We got one more call we're going to get in before the end of the Monday edition here. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate the update. Robert, you're next on the Joe Mangiacotti Show. What's happening?
Hey, Joe. Listen, I don't listen to your show that often, but I've listened to you, and I don't know how much research you've done into this vaccine. Can I ask you, have you done a lot of research into this vaccine?
Well, you'd have to define a lot. I read the articles. I don't dive.
Yeah,
into
but
it,
the
no.
articles, where do you read them from?
Read them online on some of the medical publications, some of the news outlets that come out, the Epoch Times, just different publications. When I see a headline that's about the virus, I look at it, watch the
Have you ever
shows.
been on Brighteon?
Brighteon. No, I don't think so.
How about InfoWars?
Yeah, I'm not big on InfoWars though.
Yeah, but there's a lot of information on InfoWars.
Okay, I'll check them out again.
But go on to Brighteon. You were just talking about people in the military getting dishonorably discharged.
No, I know. No. There's a bill that says they can't get.
Just listen. This isn't about a vaccine. This is about a digital ID. The root of this is about a digital ID and a great reset. I know you've heard about the great reset.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. And there's a lot to get into the. We're not going to have time. I hope that.
No, I get that.
I hope you can call back on a Saturday.
Have you ever watched Klaus Schwab? Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
Talking about the Great Reset.
Yeah, and that goes to why
that's the
Robert,
root of all of this.
Right, and why I think
that's the root of all of this.
Why I think that they don't want to talk about natural immunity, that they want to force everybody to get this into their system. And my question the whole time has been why? Why is it so important?
Because they want everyone to have a digital ID. They want you to have a digital ID, and it's going to be on your body.
Yeah. Hey, Robert, I can't control the time. We're out of time. I wish we had started this early in the conversation. I'll be back on Thursday to do, folks. I'm going to sit in for Jerry, so I'll be doing Political Thursday at 10 o'clock. Obviously, I won't be here at Christmas. Hey, Merry Christmas to everybody. I'll be on Thursday. Have a great afternoon. Joe out.